Now you know what this means. We are going to have ourselves a real adventure in the kitchen today because I just got back from Aldi's. And I didn't realize they've been selling something at Aldi's that I've overlooked over the hundreds of times that I have gone into Aldi's. And what I found was this. This is 5 pounds. 5 pounds of 27% fat ground beef. And in looking at the label, there's nothing in here except cow, period. That's it. Now, my first thought might be, well, I bet you there's a lot of garbage in there. They probably ground up cartilage and they probably have some organs in there. And I mean, God knows what kind of garbage is in that. But that's the beautiful part. The best way to eat, if you're going to be living carnivore, they say, is nose to tail. Other than the bones, there's nothing in the animal that isn't fabulous for you. So, unlike most people who might think that this stuff might not be good, I think this stuff has the potential, if they have ground up some cartilage and if they have some organ meat in there and everything, this might be some of the best stuff that we could eat. But here's the good part. This 5 pounds, they sell it for $9.99. 10 bucks. 10 bucks for 5 pounds of ground beef. So today, I'm going to take this $2 a pound ground beef and I'm going to make a video cooking it 2 different ways. One way, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to take and make 2 patties, throw it in a pan, flip them over and eat them. And I'm going to make a meatloaf out of 2 pounds of this stuff with a recipe that I have never tried before because I just kind of invented it in my head. And that's where the adventure part comes in. This stuff may come out to be the best tasting meatloaf I've ever had, or I may not even be able to eat it, but we're going to find out. So here we go. Okay, there you have it. I bought this 10 pounds of hamburger and 2 bags of pork rinds this morning for $12.33 at Aldi's. Unbelievable. Okay, we're going to need some eggs. Get some eggs out here. We're going to need, man, I can't even contemplate meatloaf without bacon on it. And that's it. The other ingredient that we're going to need is going to be the pork rind breadcrumbs and a bowl. Now, if it isn't simple and quick, it doesn't fit into my lifestyle. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start, and we're making 2 pounds. We're going to make a 2 pound burger. So from what I know about meatloaf, you want to put about 1 egg per pound in your meatloaf. So we will put 2 eggs in here. And I like to beat up the eggs first rather than squishing them. And the reason I do that is because when you make a meatloaf, you can over squish the meat. And you want to try to mix it as little as possible. So there we have the eggs. I'm going to put, I don't know exactly how much salt this is going to need. So this is Redmond's real salt. I'm going to give it 3 shakes. and we'll see how this first one comes out. I'd rather undersalt it than oversalt it. And then I'm going to take a measuring spoon, and again, just off the cuff, I'm going to put, I think, 3 or 4 tablespoons, heaping tablespoons of the pork rind crumbs in there. And I think I'll do 3 because I don't want to put too much of that stuff in there because it might make it too dry. So we got salt, we got eggs, we got pork rind crumbs, and all we have to add to this now is the ground beef. So I want to do about 2 pounds, and I don't want to really weigh this, but this is going to be easy because I got 10 pounds here, and that's about half, so that's about a third of it. So I think that right there is going to probably be about 2 pounds, and I'm just going to cut that. And for the time being, I'll stick this back in the refrigerator, and I'll put some saran wrap on it later. And then all I have to do is basically open this up. Well, it doesn't look bad. It looks like any other ground beef that I buy. And throw it in. Now, for this little operation here, I'm going to just put on a glove. Not really, because I'm worried about my hands. My hands are clean. I'm the one that's going to eat this. But this is just a squishy mess. And I'm going to start just mixing this. Try to get it mixed thoroughly, but more by folding it over than actually squishing it too much. And I did pick the right size bowl here. If I had picked a smaller bowl, I would have been in trouble. But I'm going to just try to make sure this is all thoroughly mixed. Now, I'm not putting anything else in this because this meatloaf is going to be 100% zero carb, no plants, no carnivore inappropriate stuff like sauces, glazes, and all the stuff that people think that we need to put in a meatloaf to give it flavor. When you become as into carnivore as I've become in the past year, you find that those flavors actually make the food less desirable to you. And the actual flavors of the meat and the eggs and the real foods are the flavors that you really crave. Again, I marvel at the change in my actual tastes and what I find delicious. But I mean, I'm thinking about this meatloaf, and my mouth is already watering. So that's about probably all that I need to mix it up. I will squish it a couple times to make sure that all of that pork rind crumbs are mixed in there and everything is the way it should be. I have no idea how this is going to come out. I mean, it's going to be good at worst, but I'm looking for something that I just look forward to making that doesn't take a lot of time and energy. Now, there's a number of different ways that you can cook this. Let's get rid of the glove. I know I'm not done handling it, but I've decided that I'm going to, well, I need to turn my oven on. I'm going to turn my oven on to 350 degrees and preheat it. Should have done that first. I thought it might take me a little longer to do this. I am going to do the easiest thing that I can think of. Is I'm going to make a big meatball out of it and stick it in a carbon steel pan. And I'm just going to put it in the oven. I'm going to use the meter thermometer here. And once I got a big meatball in the pan, you'll see I'll stick the meter thermometer in. And then I don't even have to worry about how long to cook it. I will set the temperature that I want it to be inside, and away we go. So let me take this big thing and just dump it in the pan. and I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to make something that resembles a meatloaf out of it. And this, since it's 2 pounds, is basically 2 meals right here, unless you're really hungry. And if you're really hungry, you could eat the whole thing. But I think this is easy enough to make it this way that you don't have to spend an awful lot of time with baking loaf pans and parchment paper and greasing the pan and worrying about it sticking to the pan and everything. Okay, so now we have that, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to take 2. Let's see how it covers. We're going to take some of this Wright's bacon. They ought to pay me a royalty. I'm going to start with, I'll take one slice of this, maybe 2 slices of the Wright's bacon, I think would do it. And I'm gonna cut them in half like this. And even though this is going to add extra fat, I'm going to take the 4 slices of Wright's bacon and I'm going to put them on top like this. And put one here, and to be fancy, I'll put one here too. See what happens. We'll see how well this bacon browns. It's, like I say, this is an adventure. It's an experiment. This is the kind of stuff that I do. And when I saw this, I didn't even plan to make this video. When I saw this stuff at this $2 a pound hamburger at Sam's Club today, and everybody's been asking me to make a video about how I cook hamburgers, and I thought that would be very boring. The light bulb went on in my head, and I said, holy cow, what I got here is something that might be fun. And I think that the more you can make this fun, the better you're going to be able to stick to it. So I'm going to take this meter thermometer, I'm going to stick it down right in until the line that goes around it. And that's basically it. We're ready to cook. In the oven it goes. It's still preheating, but that's okay. And I want to make sure that thermometer is not touching a metal rack in there. And that looks good. And we'll shut the door. And the next step is going to be just to set up the app. Okay, I've opened up the app on my phone for the meter, and we'll tap Setup Cook, and we want beef, and it gives you all kinds of different types of beef, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to say other, and I'm going to want it to be probably 150 to 159, which they call medium well. Okay, while that meatloaf is in the oven and it's getting near lunchtime, I think I'm going to go ahead and do my other fabulously complicated recipe for this video, and that is cook up a couple of hamburger patties. And one thing I just discovered, which is really kind of neat about having them rolled up like this 5-pound roll, is you just cut off and you pretty much have a patty. So I'm just going to put just as much salt as I usually put on them, which I've learned exactly how much, and I'm going to use this Himalayan salt now. And I'm going to preheat, turn on the pan to kind of not quite medium high, but closer to medium, because I don't want to overheat these things. I'm going to take this hunk of hamburger, I'm going to put it in the pan. And I know that move right there, you think that, do I have the kitchen skills to actually accomplish that? And let me assure you that the odds are you'll get it right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my good old hand and I'm going to squish it down to make it about 3/4 of an inch thick. And there I have 2 perfect, fresh hamburger patties that took seconds. And we'll come back when it's time to flip them. Okay, time to flip them. There you go. 154. That's enough. That's done, because that'll rest a little while and it'll come up to a little more temperature. Now, if I wanted to, I could pour some of this grease all over it, but I absolutely get enough fat for myself. So I'm going to eat them just the way they are, and they look pretty good. So let it cool off a little bit, and we'll come back and see how they taste. By that time, we ought to be coming on finished on the meat. This thing is telling me to remove it from the heat, so that's what I'm going to do. Go in there and make sure I'm wearing my glove, and we're going to take this thing out, and I'm as curious to see what it looks like as you. Oh, goodness, look at that. Wow, wow, wow. All right, we're going to say that, and now I'm going to have to remove it from the heat. So I need to probably get a plate, and we will bring this thing over, and this is going to be interesting to do with one hand. I'll get this big fish spatula, and let's see if I can do this. Put it on the plate. We're just going to let it rest. Wow, wow, wow. Look at that. Demolish those two big hamburgers, except for this one last bite, which I'm going to eat right now. And these hamburgers were absolutely delicious. Our meter says that it's ready, but I'm just not going to eat it yet. So that's it. Back when I can taste it. Okay, moment of truth. Let's give this a little look-see, and we'll see what it looks like. Well, it doesn't. It looks good. It looks delicious. There it is. It's done perfectly. Just a slightest little pink tinge in the center. I really think it came out okay. It held its shape real good, which I'm happy to say. The bacon looks like it got done real well. And this is it. This is the moment of truth. Okay, here it is. There's the bacon. There's the meatloaf. And this is a mouthful. But let's see. It's tasty. Could use a little more salt, but I could eat it like this. But like I said, I'd rather undersalt it, pardon the mouthful, than not. But it's a keeper. And this right here is 2 meals of over a pound each. So I may tweak this recipe a little more down the road, but I don't know how. But this, as a first shot, was surprisingly tasty. So, my friends, with that, I'll tell you to take the rest of the day off, as I usually do, and to eat meat.